It was probably about 13 galactic years ago that I first fought alongside the humans. My unit of Vargrung walkers were acting as heavy support for a unit of about 14 human infantry, doing hunter-kill missions against the Kelreth in some dark swamp world. Reminded me of home, if I'm honest. Sure, we'd all heard the stories of how humans breathed oxygen neat, could rip a reef lizard apart with their bare hands, felt no pain, breathed fire, etc., etc. The usual Fevsnar you always get from military stories. The truth is that, yes, humans have a well-honed capacity for violence, but that's still nowhere near the sort of thing you get from a doggerel suicide berserker. No, the thing that makes them dangerous is that, well, it's hard to put in the words. You know that feeling you get when you meet a doctor? That sort of feeling of trust you have that he knows how to do his job? That's the feeling I get from humans with regards to fighting. They've got the air of knowing what they're doing when it comes to fighting. They have this completely detached way of thinking about warfare that no other race can match. That and adrenaline, that stuff's just incredible. It's considered an illegal and potentially lethal drug in 90% of Galaxy. Droll juveniles use it as a narcotic. The Octovar consider it an aphrodisiac, and the Kelreth use it as a combat drug. But only humans produce it naturally. And only humans have bodies designed for it. After all, it was the Kelreth deciding it'd be fun to abduct humans and surgically harvest their adrenaline glands that caused the whole Terran-Kelreth war in the first place. And it was why we were doing HK missions on Gulad 3. So there we were, me and two fellow Barghast and our Vargrung scout walkers, acting as heavy support for a unit of human Raingars, when a trinity of Kelreth in full mechanized battle dress get the drop on us. You could clearly see their veins monstrously blue and throbbing, and they're squealing in that horrible way that they sound when they try to use their underdeveloped vocal cords. It was obvious that they were doped up on adrenaline so far that they couldn't even act rationally anymore. Their whirring Gauss weapons managed to kill two of the humans in brief sprays of blood. The sight is so horrific that my two spawn mates freeze in their tracks, and even I was unable to move my tentacles fast enough to get a clean shot. The humans, however, reacted instantly. They immediately dashed behind the armored shell of our Vargrung, which affords them needed cover, and began to return fire. The Kelreth saw this and attempted to advance towards us. I fire a couple of shots from my plasma casters to try and scare them off, but in their state, they totally ignore my wild shots. That's when one brave human charges into one and jammed the combat blade on the end of his slug thrower right into the Kelreth's face. It made a horrible gurgle and sunk beneath the swamp waters. He then leapt on top of another, and with his bare hands he managed to gouge the Kelreth's eyes out with his bare hands. Its screaming somehow managed to get even worse before the human broke the thing's neck. The other one stops for an instant as it notices its compatriots flailing, and I was finally able to concentrate long enough to incinerate it with my plasma casters. It later turned out that the human had been shot 5 times in non-lethal areas. He simply did not feel it at the time. Adrenaline, amazing stuff.